You recognize the language being spoken by the owners of the harsh voices. It is Koron. A shiver runs down your spine when you recall what you have heard about the evil creatures who speak this tongue. How they delight in cruelty and love nothing better than to devour human flesh. It would be wise to avoid them, but in order to reach the ford, you have to pass close by the bushes. From what little you can hear of their conversation, they're arguing over some fish they have caught. If you creep nearer, as you creep nearer, you pray that their argument will keep them distracted long enough for you to reach the river unseen. Pick a number on the random number table. If you have completed the lower circle of Solaris, add 3 to the number you have picked. Random number table, for God's sakes. Please, I need help. Oh, thank you. Thank you very kindly. Whew. Swiftly you cross the rocky causeway, taking care to tread on those stones that rise above the foaming right torrent, and you enter the Magador forest as quickly as the dense trees will allow. The ground rises steeply, and it is dusk before your climb ends at the crest of the ridge overlooking the Isle of Ghosts. In less than an hour it will be dark, so you decide to camp here on the ridge and continue at first light. You must eat a meal. No, don't need it. Got hunting suit. You are preparing to settle down on a bed of leaf mold when the howl of timberwolves prompts you to abandon your soft mattress and spend the night in the broad of a tree. Makes sense. Your journey northwards towards the Magador Forest is a long and tiring trek that is fraught with danger. Roving bands of Koron and packs of savage timberwolves demand that you remain vigilant at all times, and as you venture deeper into their vast domain, you feel your sense of time gradually slipping away. Your only consolation from this long and lonely trek is that wild game is plentiful, and you experience no shortage of food. On the morning of your 9th day in the forest, you notice that gray pines are beginning to thin out, and the ground is becoming musty and sparsely vegetated. Soon, you come upon a road constructed of broken stones, which leaves the forest and disappears into the barren landscape of yellow sulphurous soil. You check your map and it confirms your suspicions. You have reached the foothills of the Nadulizaga Mountains and are now less than 20 miles from the fortress of Torgar. Alright, let's take a look at the map. I have reached these mountains, I think? Wait, no. These mountains. What? How did that work exactly? How did I get here? Well, whatever. So anyway, so far we started here, we went to this battle, we tried to cross the river, didn't quite work, made our way through the Isle of Ghosts, and then up through here, we're right about here, I think. So, yay! After a week of trekking across the difficult terrain, the firm surface of the hill track feels as smooth as a mirror beneath your aching feet. By noon, you have put 10 miles behind you, and you have reached a bridge which crosses a sticky yellow stream flowing down from the surrounding hills. You must now eat a meal, lose 3 endurance points. You are about to continue your journey across the bridge when you hear a rumble of hoofbeats and see a group of horsemen shrouded in dust riding along the road towards you. Hang on, I've recovered 5 hit points, so go back up to 9. If you have the magic discipline of Hunt Mastery and have reached the rank of Principalian or more, yes. Using your ability to intensify your vision, you focus on the advancing horsemen. You see that they are all wearing surcoats of scarlet and gray, embroidered with the crest bearing an open hand. The only horsemen who wear this livery are the cavalry of Telestria. If you wish to wave down these riders, yeah, sure, let's do that. They're good guys. The Telestrians bring their horses to a halt and regard you with suspicion. Their officer draws his sword and demands to know your nationality and the name of your regiment. You reply in his native tongue that you are from you are an Urian pathfinder. A smile spreads slowly across his rugged face. He tells you that he and his men are scouts who have been sent to make sure that the hills are free of enemy troops. Your Kai's sixth sense confirms that he speaks the truth, and when he offers to take you to meet his commander, you accept the invitation gladly. You share the officer's horse as he leads his company back along the route they have already ridden. Steadily, the road winds upwards through the hills towards the ridge of yellow rock, and as you reach the crest of the ridge, you catch your first awe-inspiring glimpse of Torgar. And you got a picture of Torgar, and wow, is actually impressive. You can see this picture. There's an army massed down here, a stone bridge, and then an utterly gigantic fortress. Good lord. The walls of the grim city fortress stand upon the brink of a ravine cut deep by centuries of rushing water. A natural causeway of stone spans the dark chasm and provides the only means of approaching Torgar from the south. Its position and its defenses seem impregnable. It commands the only road to the barren land of Gatan, and any who dare travel that road must pass over the causeway and through the city's great iron gate. In the past, there have been few who would venture willingly to Torgar, but now the causeway and its approaches swarm with such men. They are soldiers of Telestria and Palamaran, and they have come with their engines of war to lay siege to the grim Drakkar fortress. The scout officer spurs his horse away from the ridge, and you are carried towards a cluster of tents that stand on high ground overlooking the siege works. As you arrive, a group of knights step forward to take the horse's reins. You dismount with the officer and follow as he enters the largest tent. If you have ever visited the lands of Telestria in a previous Lone Wolf adventure, yeah, I'm going to assume I have. Inside the tent, a group of senior officers are poring over their battle maps and planning their troop dispositions for an assault across the causeway. The leader has his back to you, but when he turns you to see who has entered the tent, you recognize him at once. He is Adams, Lord Constable of Garthon. By the gods, he exclaims, I thought the Danarg had claimed you, Lone Wolf. It is good to see you alive. Lord Adams is... I don't remember. I think he was in book 8. That was Pydo that came with me. Lord Adams was... I don't remember. But yeah, I remember the name. Anyway, he dismisses his captains and bids you tell what has happened since last you met. So you wish to break into Torgar, he says thoughtfully. How strange it is that our goals should also be so similar. Come, follow me. Perhaps cooperation will hasten our success. I think Adams was the guy Pydo and I ran into, and he helped us on our journey. I think? In any case, a short distance from Lord Adams' tent stands a wooden watchtower constructed by his army of engineers, which offers an unobstructed view of the causeway and the great gate of Torgar. As you reach the top of this rickety ladder and step onto the platform beside the Lord Constable, he recounts the events that have led to the siege of the city fortress. Following his victory over the Orgaians and the destruction of the Zanar, Adams led the allied armies of Bor and Telestria and Palamaran along the Black Shroud Trail in pursuit of the shattered enemy. When they reached the Agna Kor Kulzum, the Road of Slaves, the army of Bor was detached and sent to assail the Black Shroud from the east, while the bulk of the allied forces marched north towards Torgar. When Telestria was overrun in the early days of the war, thousands of her people were taken as slaves and imprisoned here in the fortress. Lord Adams has sworn that one day he will free them, and he is determined to fulfill his pledge. During the march north, the great battle was fought near the wastelands of Zutzinia against two Gak armies led by the Dark Lord Kraginskol and Dark Lord Chalanzar. Both were silently defeated by the Allies and sent back to Cragmantle to lick their wounds. Although victorious at Zoltzina, the Allies had suffered heavy losses, and Adams feared that it would be too weak to storm Torgar. He was too far from his homeland for reinforcements to reach him swiftly, and there was a growing threat that the Dark Lords would muster their troops in Tanoz and Mozagar and attack again. Faced with the grave dilemma, he decided to risk an assault on Torgar. We have the means to breach the Iron Gate, he says, staring purposely at the great door of Torgar. The Elder Magi have given us a device that will reduce it to twisted scrap, and when we march through the portal and free our people, we shall have all the reinforcements we need. The hoarse cries of soldiers and the blare of war trumpets announce preparations for an assault across the causeway. Armored infantry gather in a spearhead formation and wait for the order to advance towards the wall of logs and earth, which has been thrown up to protect the vanguard troops dug on the causeway itself. The warriors scuttle about behind their ramparts, holding arched wooden shields over their bent backs to protect them against the arrows raining down from the battlements. The iron gate stands less than 50 yards from their position, and this approach is heaped with the bodies of those who have fallen in previous assaults. You accompany Lord Adams as he makes his way through the massed ranks of infantry and enters a trench which zigzags towards the causeway. He stops at a log-lined hollow dug out of the trench wall and speaks with the captain, who is lying there, nursing a broken arm. The wounded officer hands him a leather satchel, and Adams continues along the trench until he reaches the center of the causeway. There, you both take cover with the vanguard and peer through the slit in the log wall at the formidable entrance of Torgar. Hang on, I think I've gotten another 4 hit points? Oh, wait, no, 9 plus 4 equals 13. Silly me. It's an impressive-looking door, says Adams, studying the wall of black iron pitted and streaked with age. But every door has its key, and we now have the key to this one. He flips open the leather satchel and removes what appears to be a mass of triangular crystals fused into a solid lump. This is the device the Elder Magi prepared for us. It has to be placed at the foot of the door, and it is activated by pressing this shard, he says, pointing to the sliver of crystal protruding from the side. This thing explodes 10 seconds after the shard is pressed. Calmly, he takes a coin from his pocket and flicks it into the air. One of us must place the device, he says, as he catches the coin. We are the only two left who stand a chance of surviving the run. He nods at his clenched fist and invites you to call heads or tails. You have the Medicaid discipline of divination? I do. You focus your Kai skills on Adam's hand, but you cannot tell which side of the coin is showing. All you can detect is a strong magical aura, indicating that the coin is magically shielded. You have no option but to guess which side of this goes, head or tails. Let's go with heads. Let's use our heads, folks. He opens his fist and you see that the coin shows tails. Fate has chosen you for the heroic task, Kai Lord. Oh, joy. He says, and hands you the leather satchel containing the crystal explosive. My men will cover you with their crossbows when you make your run. Place the device so that the shard faces the door, and remember, you have only 10 seconds to get back once it's activated. You shoulder the satchel. As Adams gives the order for his men to fire, you scramble over the rampart and sprint towards the great iron door. Okay, I have another 3, so I'm up to 16 now. Pick a number on the random number table. If you have the Magnified Discipline of Hunt Mastery, add 2 to the number you've picked. If you completed the lower circle of Solaris, add a further 2. So I get to add 4. So I need 4 higher random number table. Come on, a 4 higher. 7! Oh, it's showing mercy. I've had such a horrible time that it's like, okay. Even I'm not going to give him a hard time now. The yells of the Dracarum echo along the battlements as they watch you sprinting towards the city. Then a rain of boulders slams down with terrific force, spraying you with splinters of stone as they disintegrate on impact. Your senses keep you safe as instinctively you dodge the falling rocks and then skid to a halt in front of the door. You plant and prime the crystal explosive and run back, counting the seconds with every step. You clear the rampart on the count of 7 and flatten yourself behind its protective wall. That was easy. The crystal explodes with a blinding flash, releasing a bolt of sun-like energy that tears a massive hole in the 1-foot-thick iron plate and transforms what little remains into red-hot slag. The shuddering concussion jars the entire causeway, and the fragments of glowing metal fall all around you. Triumphant cheers rise above the thunderous boom that is rumbling through the ravine. As the spear point of Adams' army surges across the causeway towards the ruined gate. And they got a picture, a really cool picture actually, of the ruined gate and the melted bits of it, and then of course your hands. Yay! Good job, Lone Wolf! Yay! Alright, you take your place. Hang on, I have 1 more hit point. I don't know when I'm going into combat, so update it when I can. You take your place beside Lord Adams and charge through the smoldering gap, leaping over the charred and broken remains of the Dracarum who were caught by the blast, and Allied soldiers follow your lead. The Allied soldiers follow your lead and sweep into the startled city through a gate now guarded only by the slain. Despite their shock, the defenders begin to rally as they receive fresh reinforcements from other parts of the city, and soon a vicious battle rages in the cramped, gloomy streets. Oh, hang on a second.